Volkswagen survived the fall of Nazi Germany, the Cold War, 2 oil crises, and its own emissions scandal. Now it is preparing to cut up to 100,000 jobs and close 4 factories. On June 26, 2026, German business publication Manager magazine exposed the internal blueprint behind this retrenchment. Based on sources inside Volkswagen, Chief Executive Oliver Blume is preparing a restructuring plan to eliminate up to 100,000 jobs. This represents 15% of the automaker's 650,000 global employees. The plan strikes directly at German manufacturing, targeting 4 major domestic plants for closure: Hanover, Zwickau, Emden, and Audi's facility in Neckarsulm. Together, these 4 locations employ more than 45,000 workers. Shuttering them would dismantle regional economic foundations and break decades of labor peace. Beyond headcount, the leaked strategy slashes future development, proposing a 15% reduction in investment spending, a cut of roughly 11 billion euros from capital expenditures. Investors reacted immediately. On June 27, the day after the story broke, Volkswagen's share price fell nearly 4%, closing at 74 euros and 46 cents. By July 10th, the stock fell further to 70 euros and 92 cents, completing a 24.5% decline over 12 months. This is not a routine cost-cutting exercise. It is a historic retreat, forcing the world's largest automotive group to aggressively shrink its footprint to survive. In 1937, the German Labor Front established Volkswagen under a Nazi regime decree to build a low-cost people's car. Ferdinand Porsche engineered the vehicle, anchoring the brand's identity to high-volume mechanical manufacturing. After Allied bombing decimated the Wolfsburg factory during World War II, the British military government assumed control, saving the site from dismantling. In 1948, the British offered the plant to Ford Motor Company free of charge. Henry Ford II declined, believing the operation was not worth the investment. Rebuilding instead fell to managing director Heinz Nordhoff, who reorganized the factory around American-style mass production techniques. The resulting Beetle became a global phenomenon, selling more than 21 million units by 1972. Over the next half-century, Volkswagen transformed into a multi-brand conglomerate, acquiring Audi, Seat, Skoda, Bentley, Lamborghini, and Porsche to become the best-selling automaker on Earth. But the very strategy that built this empire, centralized hardware engineering, massive physical factories, and a vast unionized workforce, laid the foundation for an existential crisis when the automotive world shifted from mechanical engines to software and battery cells. For more than a century, Germany's industrial supremacy relied on a single, highly refined mastery: the internal combustion engine. This complex assembly of pistons, valves, and gearboxes was a barrier to entry that global competitors struggled to breach. Electric vehicles dismantled this advantage. An electric drivetrain replaces thousands of moving mechanical parts with a battery pack and software, shifting the core of automotive value creation from mechanical engineering to chemistry and digital code. While European automakers spent the 2000s refining diesel technology, Chinese industrial planners made a different calculation. In the mid-2000s, Beijing designated electric vehicles and battery manufacturing as national strategic priorities, directing state capital, subsidies, and research resources toward securing raw materials and cell chemistry. Europe maintained its focus on combustion engines for another decade. This 10-year timing gap left legacy automakers facing a structural technology and cost disadvantage that was difficult to close. In 2025, Chinese automaker BYD overtook Tesla to become the world's largest seller of electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles, delivering 2.25 million cars. This rapid expansion was driven by a structural weapon: absolute vertical integration. While Western manufacturers rely on an expensive, multi-layered web of external Tier 1 suppliers, BYD controls almost its entire value chain, from raw material sourcing to final assembly. The company manufactures its own semiconductors, electric motors, inverters, vehicle bodies, and its proprietary blade-type battery packs. BYD even operates its own fleet of car carrier ships, including the BYD Explorer No. 1, to export vehicles directly to global markets. Analysts estimate this extreme level of in-house manufacturing yields a 25% cost advantage over legacy automakers. The integration bypasses the supplier markups that squeeze competitor margins, turning raw supply chain control into an aggressive pricing strategy. This represents an entirely different industrial model, engineered to outprice legacy brands at every stage of production. In 2025, Chinese manufacturer CATL supplied nearly 40% of all electric vehicle batteries installed worldwide. Combined with BYD, these two Chinese companies controlled more than 55% of the global electric vehicle battery market. This immense consolidation of the supply chain triggered aggressive political responses from Western governments. In late 2024, the European Union imposed additional tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles, ranging from roughly 8% to over 35%, stacked directly on top of the existing 10% import duty. The United States went further, raising tariffs on Chinese electric vehicles to 100%. By early 2026, the European Union and China began replacing parts of the tariff regime with a negotiated minimum price agreement. While these protectionist measures raised the entry price of Chinese imports, they failed to erase the underlying competitive advantage of Chinese manufacturers. The trade barriers changed the immediate economics of vehicle entry, but they left the core cost advantages of China's concentrated battery supply chain completely untouched. China's rise only explains part of this decline. Volkswagen's current position is also the result of severe, self-inflicted wounds. The 2015 emissions cheating scandal drained over 31 billion euros in fines and settlements, depleting the company's cash reserves just as the electric transition began. Meanwhile, CATL, the group's in-house software unit, ran into persistent development delays. These software failures pushed back the launches of major electric vehicles, including the Porsche Macan and Audi Q6 e-tron, by years. Operationally, Volkswagen struggled to compete on basic assembly efficiency, requiring roughly twice as many workers as Toyota to build a comparable number of cars. By 2025, these internal failures triggered a 44% drop in net profit, which fell to 6.9 billion euros, the weakest financial performance since Dieselgate. In 2024, BYD overtook Volkswagen to claim first place in the Chinese market. By 2025, Volkswagen fell even further, slipping to third place behind Geely. This rapid downturn reflects a broader industrial retreat, as the combined market share of all foreign automakers in China dropped from 57% in 2020 to just 32% in 2025. Škoda's sales inside the country plummeted from 341,000 vehicles in 2018 to 15,000 in 2025, forcing a complete market withdrawal. Now, this competitive pressure is spilling directly into Europe, where first quarter 2026 sales for BYD rose 153% and Chery's surged 342%. Germany's corporate laws turn these proposed cuts into a legal trap. Under the co-determination system known as Mitbestimmung, union representatives and workers hold half the seats on Volkswagen's supervisory board, giving them direct votes on any restructuring. Adding to this, the metalworkers union IG Metall secured a binding agreement in late 2024 that outlaws German factory closures until 2030. Even if management tries to override this, the state of Lower Saxony owns a 20% voting stake, giving them a statutory veto. State Premier Stefan Weil has already flatly refused to approve the shutdowns, leaving the board deadlocked. Volkswagen's crisis is a warning to the entire Western industrial complex. The rules of global manufacturing have permanently changed. As software and batteries replace engines, legacy giants must adapt or risk obsolescence. Can Europe's industrial crown jewel survive? Share your thoughts below.